This goes out to the person who has either rebuilt their life or trying to rebuild their life, and you have to deal with people from your past. If possible, if you could be away from those people, be away from them. Or if you have to coexist with them, just limit how much you interact with them as much as possible. You could be restarting and have to stay with a relative, and that's fine. But make sure you have a timeline that's ready for an exit so you can go ahead and live this new life on your own. There are some people in this world that just refuse to accept the fact that you're trying to make changes. It could be because they don't want to believe that you're willing to change. Or maybe they've been hurt in the past and just feel that this is another round. But regardless, you got it in your mind that things are going to be different this time. And sometimes it takes some of us a few times to finally get it right. But as long as you've made peace with yourself and you start working on yourself to build a real life, the best thing for you to do is to distance yourself from anything that resembles the former life. Now, there's some lessons you lived in your former life, so you can't forget everything. Can't forget where you came from if there was a lesson learned. But see, you could use that experience to help someone who's going through it. You can kind of get inside their head just a little bit. Give them an idea that somebody understands. And give them the comfort of knowing that they're not the only one who's been through it. Sometimes when somebody's going through something, the only people that can reach them are the ones who've been through it and the ones who came out ahead, because that gives that person something to look forward to. See, no amount of preaching and praying and everything else is going to make a person straighten up if the people who are preaching and praying at them haven't gone through it. See, they're going to look at it as judgment. And the only people that could actually get through to them are the people who have been where they are. That's just a fact of life, people. So for those of you who either pull familiar rank or you've been around a person for a long period of time and you have a certain amount of importance in your life, it's great that you feel important in their life. But if you haven't gone through what that person goes through, you got to accept the fact that it's going to be difficult at times until they get over to the other side. And I know it makes you feel helpless. That's understandable. But you got to understand that you can't handle everything for that person, even though you want to. You're a little too close to the situation, and sometimes it takes somebody outside with an objective view to see what's going on and to be able to put things in perspective. But to the person who's going through it, once you have gone through, and I have faith that you're going to go through it, please make sure that you keep it together by setting up a new circle of friends, a new circle of influence, people who are on the same path or at the destination of where you want to go. Because what's going to happen is it's going to be that one time where you're going to slip backwards, and right before you know it, you're reliving your past all over again, just from that one instance dealing with those old people, going through the same old behaviors. And right before you know it, the old behaviors are a result of old thoughts, and that's going to lead to old actions. And right before you know it, you're right back in the mess that you did all this work to get out of. People, places, and things. That's what they say in rehab, and it's the truth. And I don't care if that person went to school with you for 20 years or whatever the case may be. If they were part of you destroying yourself, they have to go. And especially if they are still in that world. Now, if they're making an effort to come out of it, that's a different story. But if they're in that world and don't see how much damage and destruction there is in that world, you can't go back to them. I don't care if they're related to you. I don't care if you went to school with them since 2nd grade. It doesn't matter. You got to leave them alone. Or else it's going to be two of you suffering again and again till one of you dies or both of you die. And that's the truth. But do the best you can. You have to make amends with the people that you worked with before, as far as your family members and things like that, people who were disappointed in you because you hurt them so many times. But you know what? There's a certain amount of responsibility those people have to have too. Now, the people who are involved and they don't believe that this person has changed and they don't believe that they could do anything for themselves or whatever, and you're disappointed, you have a right to feel a little disappointed. But if you see that that person is actively living a different life than they lived before, they're not just saying it, but they're living it, and you still want to place judgment, and you still want to give them a hard time and bully, guess who's wrong now? See, the tables have turned. It'd be different if this person was still dipping and dabbing and exhibiting the same behaviors, but if they're not, and they have been forgiven and have moved on, and developed a good relationship and a sense of spirituality, you are in no place to sit there and pick at them. If you are still disappointed or whatever the case may be, that's something you're going to have to work out with your Creator on your level in your spiritual relationship. Because see, what you're doing now, the shoe is on the other foot. The person who committed the wrong is now leaving right. And now you that used to live right, you're being wrong by being judgmental. And believe you me, with you being judgmental and not showing the forgiveness and the mercy that you so-called believe in, you're going to suffer for that. Because now the shoe is on the other foot. Now you're wrong. But see, you want to cloak it in justification because you're hurt and disappointed. Okay, we all go through this thing in our lives where we're hurt and disappointed in someone we love. But when we see that person is making an honest effort to live a decent life, if anything, you should be their cheerleader and not sit here and hold grudges. Because if you hold grudges, trust and believe it's going to reflect in your life. And the same thing's going to come back on you. Just saying.